Graduation day for more than 1,900 students at Harvard University. But this year, commencement for the class of 2025 is happening in the shadow of that unprecedented legal battle with President Trump. Shortly after today's ceremonies begin, Harvard's attorneys and the Department of Homeland Security are set to face off at a hearing over the Trump administration's attempt to strip the school of its ability to enroll students from overseas. Now, even though a judge has temporarily blocked that move, the head of Harvard's immigration services said in a court filing that some students are, quote, afraid to attend their own graduation ceremonies. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hylton joins us now from Cambridge, Massachusetts with the latest. Antonia, first of all, just what is expected to happen at this hearing today?
Good morning, Joe. Well, in this Boston federal courtroom, we're going to hear from both sides in this case, and they are going to meet face to face for the very first time. We expect Harvard to lay out an argument that we already have a pretty good sense of because they've submitted filings and they've made their position in recent days quite clear. They're going to argue that this is all about political retribution coming from the Trump administration. They are very likely going to bring up remarks that the president has made on Truth Social and elsewhere, for example, referring to people here on the campus as bird brains, accusing people of all kinds of things, labeling the school as anti-American. Secretary Noem saying that Harvard has associations with the Chinese Communist Party, and argue that this is really about a sort of ideological and political conflict and not about what the Trump administration has argued for weeks here, which is that they have concerns about anti-Semitism on campus, that they have concerns about violence and protests that happened last year on campus. And both sides are going to go sort of toe-to-toe in front of each other. And then there's a possibility the judge could rule from the bench. But we could also be in a situation, Joe, where we're waiting for a couple days to see what kind of action the judge chooses to take. What Harvard is, of course, hoping here is that the restraining order stays in place, ultimately, Joe.
So, Antonia, outside of the courtroom, we've just seen this fight between Harvard and the president escalate day after day, even more so over the past couple of days. Talk about how the president might be shifting his strategy here.
Well, President Trump has in some ways, I think, struggled at times, Joe, to actually stay with what the administration's official strategy is. The official strategy is this is a school that has allowed anti-Semitism to fester. They have not introduced specific cases or names or incidents as they've made that argument. It's sort of been a broad picture of campus life that they've tried to paint. They've tried to say that the president and other leaders at the university haven't done enough work to protect Jewish students here. And that's sort of the argument, that there's a civil rights violation on the campus, and that's why they need to work with this administration to make changes. But he has strayed at many points in his comments, again, sort of making very direct and personal attacks at times on social media that will, according to the experts I've spoken to, potentially undermine him in court. Take a listen to some of President Trump's remarks.
Harvard has to understand the last thing I want to do is hurt them. They're hurting themselves. They're fighting. You know, Columbia has been really, they were very, very bad what they've done. They're very anti-Semitic and lots of other things. But they're working with us on finding a solution. And, you know, they're taking off that hot seat. But Harvard wants to fight. They want to show how smart they are. And they're getting their kicked.
And, you know, to be clear, Joe, you're hearing him there make this comparison to Columbia University, which agreed to most of the Trump administration's demands. They've faced immense criticism, even, frankly, shame from other universities, faculty members around the country since that happened. And so for Harvard, most of the people here who hear the president make those remarks, they actually see that as a badge of honor. They want to be seen as taking a very different strategy from that other school, Joe.
Yeah, and amid all this, as we mentioned, graduation day there, that's a milestone students work so hard to get to, especially if you went to Harvard. Talk about the feeling among students there getting set to graduate.
You know what's interesting, Joe? I was here last week, and I would say that last week the feeling was fear, anxiety. That's sort of what prevailed around campus. Today, though, there is immense excitement, not just because people are celebrating their graduation day, but because actually various factions with very different political and foreign policy views here have come together because they believe there is an existential threat against them here at the university. I had a chance to speak with a senior right before he processed into the yard behind me here to get ready for his graduation. Take a listen to some of our conversation.
We are all obviously celebrating our own achievements today for our 4 years, but I think that Trump's threat against Harvard are truly hanging over this, because without the international students, Harvard is not Harvard anymore. And, you know, we might be the last international class in a while. When people come back next semester, there might not be any international students left. I have friends who are back home and are truly panicking right now.
Expect to hear cheers throughout the day here. People have been giving President Alan Garber here at Harvard standing ovations because they see him as sort of the last line of defense. And so today is about graduation, but it's also about celebrating what Harvard means and what they hope it continues to mean to this community and to the world, Joe.
All right, Antonia, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.